Hey love, and welcome back to my channel. I am Pauline. For those of you who are new here, I want to thank you for stopping by, and let me give you a few seconds to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna wait. Okay, you should have done it by now, but anywho, today we are talking about hair porosity and locks, how it affects your locks and so forth. So let's get straight to it. When we talk about porosity, you want to think about porous. Porous just means pores or an opening. So when you think about porous, just think about an opening, right? And when you have an opening, when something is open, it can absorb things better, right? It is more absorbent. It can easily absorb things, all right? So when we talk about porosity in the hair, we're talking about the ability for the hair to absorb or to receive water, okay? So water or moisture, whatever it is, it's just the ability for the hair to receive and absorb moisture. Okay, so when we're talking about the hair porosity, there are different degrees of porosity. So you have low porosity, you have average porosity, and you have high porosity. So when you're looking at low porosity hair, it's hair that is resistant to moisture. So it is resistant to moisture, it is resistant to chemical processing or anything like that. So just think about that type of hair as bougie, okay? And don't want to let nobody in. It does not let anyone in easily. You got to work your way to get into that hair strand, okay? So when you think about low porosity hair, we just not letting nobody in, okay? You're gonna have to work to come into my space. So that's your low porosity hair. Your average hair porosity, they're welcoming, right? They're welcoming. You may or may not get in, you just never know. It all depends on the right condition. So when you think about average porosity hair, it is hair that is chemicals or moisture can easily is more accessible to the hair, but under the right conditions. It's not just gonna be like, okay, come on in, right? It's under the right condition, you can access the hair strand. So just think about, you know, your average porosity hair that's just like, I'll work with you, I'll let you in, but it depends on the situation. It depends on the right conditions for me to work with you, okay? So that's your average porosity hair. Then you look at, then we go on to high porosity hair. Baby, high porosity hair is just letting everybody and anybody in, letting their mama in, everybody will come in, okay? Moisture is easily enters chemical processing. High hair porosity does not have any problem with receiving moisture and chemical processing or anything of that matter. So when you think about your high porosity hair, just think about your high porosity hair as everyone's welcome, okay? Everyone is welcome, easy access. However, with high porosity hair, although anyone can come in just as easily as you can come in, it's just that easy for you to get out. Because it will spit you right back out. So under the right conditions, that hair, you know, it will welcome anybody in, but anybody can get put out as well. So that's the best way I can explain high, low, and average hair porosity. So now that you know what the different types of porosity, we're going to talk about the characteristics of the hair porosity, right? So looking at the low hair porosity, the best way to kind of tell the type of, if your hair is low porosity, average porosity, or high porosity is to do the finger test. And that's what we call it in cosmetology school, just the finger test, where you would literally take a couple of strands of your hair. You can take a strand and just take your two fingertips and hold that strand and run your fingers down the shaft of your strand. Not this way, not going up away from the scalp, but you want to take it from the ends and pull it down towards the scalp. So for low porosity hair, it's when you're running your fingers, your two fingers down the shaft of the hair, it feels smooth, it is uniform, it is dense, it is hard, meaning like dense, like it's compact, not soft. It's compact. So that's pretty much what you're looking for when you're testing for low porosity hair. When you're testing for high porosity hair, it's going to feel, when you run your 2 fingers down the shaft, it's going to feel bumpy. It's going to feel rough. It is going to feel dry. It may, depending on how damaged your high porosity hair is, it may, while you're holding the tip of it, it might even break while you go down the shaft. So it is more brittle. That's what you feel when you're looking at that, when you're testing for high porosity. And then when you're testing for average hair porosity, it's smooth with a little bit of bumpiness, but it's not as bumpy. So that's just your normal average porosity hair. Smooth, you may feel like a little kink or two, but it's smooth. Little bump, but that's it, okay? It won't break. It's not as, you know, firm and dense as low porosity, but it's not gonna break in your hand easily like high porosity hair. So signs of whether your hair is low porosity or high porosity. We're not going to talk about average because average is just normal. So we're just going to talk about the signs of low porosity and signs of high porosity. With low porosity hair, your hair takes longer to dry. Your hair struggles to retain moisture. Your hair, or you feel like no conditioner really work on your hair without heat. So those are the ways that, those are some of the signs that you have low porosity hair. So signs of high porosity hair, your hair dries really quickly. Your hair dries really quickly. Your hair is frizzy. Your hair feels really dry. Your hair will take in moisture very easily. You may also see your hair breaks easily. It breaks a lot. So those are some of the signs when you're experiencing breakage. It's dry, it's frizzy, it receives moisture, it holds on to moisture, it dries quickly. Those are the signs that your hair is high porosity. Let's talk about how it relates to locks, because we know how, okay, that's just our hair, but what can we expect when it comes to our locks? So let's first talk about Nu Loxx. When you are newly locked, how the porosity, how does that plays into your hair? So when you are newly locked and you have low porosity hair, meaning it's smooth, it's dense, because your cuticles are not raised, because when you have low porosity hair, your cuticles are just slicked down, it's smooth, it's not raised, right? And the cuticle is just the outer layer of the hair, of the hair strand. So because your cuticles are not raised, it's smooth. When you are newly locked with interlocks or braid locks, and sometimes even 2-strand twist locks, your hair will take a little bit longer to lock than someone with high porosity hair. I say that because your cuticles are smooth and laid down, okay? Laid down, all right? It's just closed. So when you are when you're locking your hair, when cuticles are raised, they grab onto each other. It causes your hair to tangle. So because you don't have that with your low porosity hair, your hair takes a little bit longer to lock. Now, the thing that helps your hair to lock with low porosity hair is, 1, you're not combing it. 2, the shedding of your daily strands helps it to lock. So our hair, we shed about 100 strands of hair a day. So when you are locked, you're not combing your hair. It's pretty much compact into whatever locking method you use. So that those 100 strands that are shedding per day, it is shedding within the lock. So because it's shedding within the lock, it is it's causing it to mat, because that shedded hair isn't falling out. It's not going anywhere. It's just shedding within the lock. So it's staying there and working its way down, and it's creating that matted look. You have smooth hair, smooth, loose curl pattern, baby, it's going to take a minute for your hair to lock. And that shedded hair is what's going to help it along the way. Another thing you might experience with low porosity hair when you're newly locked is, because it's smooth, because your cuticles are smooth, closed, and laid down, you may experience a bit more slippage than other people that have high porosity hair. So you may experience a little bit more slippage, especially if you have low porosity hair, loose curl pattern, baby. Pray for patience, okay? Pray for patience because it's gonna take a little bit longer, all right? Okay, so we're still talking about Nu Loxx. So Nu Loxx with high porosity hair, right? Nu Loxx with high porosity hair, because your cuticles are raised, your cuticles are like saying hello and welcome. It's out, it's open, right? So hair strands with raised cuticle, when they rub against each other, it causes it to tangle. So when you're a loose natural and you have high porosity hair, your hair tangles a lot because the cuticles are raised and they're just, you know, grabbing onto each other's strands and causing it to tangle. So although you hate that as a loose natural, but when you're locking, it's a benefit to you. It's a benefit to you because those raised cuticles, looking like the Christmas tree, those raised cuticles will grab onto those other strands and start matting and tangling, which is going to cause it to lock quicker. So people with high porosity hair will experience their hair locking a lot quicker than the norm, okay? So if you have that high porosity and tight curl pattern, baby, that's how you see some folks, how you locked in 3 months already? How you locked in 6 months already? Because they have that, you know, there are different factors is causing it to lock quicker. So regardless of how you start, whether it's interlock, braid locks, twists, coils, it's going to help your hair to lock quicker because of those raised cuticles tangling up and causing it to marry together and lock, okay? Also with high porosity hair, you will experience, your locks will be frizzier. So there are two types of, two reasons why your hair might be frizzy. And one of them is because your hair is high porosity, your cuticles are raised, so therefore your locks are frizzier. But people with a looser curl pattern also have frizzy hair, frizzy locks. So don't think just because if you have a loose curl pattern, you see your hair is frizzy, you're like, oh my God, I'm high porosity. It might be because your curl pattern is looser, so therefore you have frizzy hair, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's high porosity. But yes, you can have a loose curl pattern with that's high porosity and frizzy. So hope that makes sense. One thing I want to mention about high porosity hair, like when you're newly locked, okay? So you all hear that most of you guys that are getting interlocks, braid locks, two-strand twist locks, you always hear, color your hair before you lock because you won't be able to color for a while. And some of you guys go and color your hair and then experience crazy breakage after you color your hair and lock it. Here's the reason why. If your hair is already high porosity, right? And then you go and bleach blonde your hair, making it extra high porosity. Now that means your hair is overly processed. It is damaged at this point. So therefore it's going to break at this point because there's nothing, there's nothing is going to hold those cuticles. It's going to be, instead of looking like a Christmas tree, it's going to look like an umbrella that's flipped in the rain when it's windy. That's what it's going to look like because it is not going to last. I'm not saying not to color before you lock, but if you already have high porosity hair and then you go and bleach your hair like a bleach blonde, you know, honey blonde, anything higher than a level 7 or 8, and then you go and lock your hair. And when you lock your hair, you can't do no deep conditioners right away. You can't condition. You can't do a lot of stuff right away. So because of that, yes, your hair will break off, and what you will have left is just the new growth. So if you have high porosity hair and you want to color, try to avoid, and you want to color before you lock, try to avoid bleaching your hair. Do a color that does not require lifting, because if you lift or bleach that hair or lighten that hair, you will risk your hair breaking. It won't break all at once, but you will look over time and see unevenness in your hair because it's going to break. When you run your fingers through your hair, it's going to just keep shedding. It's literally going to break off. So avoid over processing your hair before you lock, because you can't moisturize like you need to. Okay. All right, so now let's move on to hair porosity with mature locks. All right, so once your locks are mature, because keep in mind with Nu Loxx, you can't really do much with Nu Loxx as far as products. You shampoo with a clarifying shampoo, and that is it. And clarifying shampoos roughens up your cuticles some more. It raises your cuticles. So be very, very careful with if you have high porosity hair and then you're doing color and doing all of this before you lock or while you newly lock. Be mindful of that. Okay, so moving on. So hair porosity with mature locks. So let's talk about low porosity and mature locks. So your locks are mature, right? And you are low porosity. If you are feeling like your hair, and I do want to say this before I explain, but hair, low porosity and high porosity, what both of them have in common is dry hair. And I say dry hair because with low porosity, your cuticles are closed, so therefore it's hard to get moisture in there. So if you put that moisture in there, it's just sitting on top of your cuticles. It's not getting in there, so it's not doing anything for your hair. So therefore, eventually your hair is still dry because that moisture is not getting in there. With high porosity, that moisture is getting in there because your cuticles are like, yeah, I'm open, come on in. But it's not, if you're not finding a way to seal that moisture in there, that moisture is leaking right on out. It's going right on out. So therefore, both porosity hair, low and high, struggle with dryness because it is not, one, it's not accepting the moisture, and one is not retaining the moisture. So that's why whether you have low porosity or high porosity, your hair may still be dry because of that, okay? So mature locks with low porosity. If you have low porosity hair and your locks are mature and you're still experiencing that dryness, I'm going to give you some tips on how to help with that, okay? So low porosity hair and mature locks. At this point, when your locks are mature, you can put and do whatever you want to with your hair. I'm not saying go crazy with products, but you can do whatever at this point because you are locked. You don't have to worry about slippage. You don't have to worry about your locks unraveling. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can have fun and live your best life in your locks, okay? So here are the things you would want to consider when you have with low porosity hair. You need to get that cuticle open up a little bit to be able to get that moisture in there. So what the heat is going to do is raise the cuticle slightly for you to be able to get in whatever you need to get in. But once you raise that cuticle, you need to close it back up. So that's why when you shampoo your hair, you want to shampoo your hair with hot water, because while you're shampooing your hair with hot water, it opens the cuticles. Then you put in your rinse out conditioner. The cuticles are open, it gets in there. Then you quickly seal that cuticle with cold water so it can retain that moisture, that conditioner in there before you rinse it out. And then when you go, so you could do hot oil treatments, you can do, what is it called? Deep conditioning treatments. You can put the conditioner in your hair, put the processing cap over your hair. You can even sleep with it overnight, but leave it in for at least 30 minutes to get that moisture in there so it can penetrate. So it needs heat. That cuticle needs heat to open up in order to receive whatever you're putting in there. But then you need to quickly seal it so whatever you put in there does not leave, okay? Because you want to seal them doors so that moisture don't try to sneak out, okay? You don't want it sneaking out. Mature locks and high porosity hair. Your hair is, especially if you color, you're more on the damaged side, right? So your hair is brittle, it's dry, it's rough, it's hard. What you need for the, what's the word? High porosity. What you need for your high porosity locks is it readily receives moisture, but you need to seal that moisture in so it does not leave. So although high porosity is very welcoming to whatever you put in your hair, it will quickly kick you out. You know, it's that, you know, they treat your high porosity hair, treat products and moisture as over welcome guests. They want to put you out real quick, fast, in a hurry. Okay, so once you the best way, since your hair is brittle, dry, and hard, one of your best friends should be a pre-poo. Pre-poo your hair before shampooing, because once you shampooing, depending on the detergents and the surfactants that's in the shampoo, it can be very stripping of the oils and all that stuff in your hair. And with your hair being already dry and it's stripping some more, it's causing more breakage. So do a pre-poo. And the purpose of that pre-poo, if you need to know more about the pre-poo, I did I have another video on pre-poo, so go check it out. But the purpose of pre-pooing your hair before you shampoo, that pre-poo oiling, that oil helps to protect and to strengthen your strands. It's just a protectant over your strands. So when you go to shampoo your hair, it has that pre-pooing has that, the oil gives it that extra layer of protection, so it's not so harsh on all your already dry and brittle hair that's ready to break at any moment, because it's just, you know, not sturdy. So that pre-pooing provide that extra layer of protection, right? So you want to pre-poo 30 minutes before your shampoo, or you can do it overnight. Put that pre-poo on your hair, then shampoo it, then condition it. When you're done with conditioning, you can even do hot oil treatments. Well, I'm sorry, not hot oil treatments. You can do oil treatments once a month or once every other month. You know, that's another good thing you can do. You can also do steam treatments. You can shampoo, pre-poo. If you want a regimen, you can pre-poo, shampoo your hair, condition your hair, get under the steamer, because the steamer is going to be cool mist, right? And that cooling mist will help seal that cuticle. And then you can rinse out that conditioner, okay? But steaming your hair is going to help with sealing that moisture in. So your biggest thing with dry, high porosity hair is to seal that moisture in their hair so it does not escape, so it does not, you know, get kicked out. So those are the things you want to focus on with your high porosity hair. Recap: low porosity hair, you want to do hot oil treatments, you want to do deep conditioners, because you want to provide heat that's going to help your cuticles to lift a little bit so that stuff can get in there, and then you want to seal it, okay? Then you want to, for your high porosity hair, it don't really need that much heat because the cuticles already raised, so just get that stuff in there. You want to do that pre-poo to give that extra layer of protection during the shampooing process, so you're not experiencing additional breakage, additional dryness, but that pre-poo is going to help with that. And then you can do steam treatments, oil treatments, not hot oil treatments, but oil treatments. All of that will help with giving your hair that extra moisture that it needs, and also help sealing it. So with both of them, because both of the porosity types experience dryness, the main thing is to seal at the end. So everyone should be, when you're done with your hair care routine for the day and you're putting in your leave-in conditioner, always follow through with some oil to seal it in. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I know this was a mouthful, you guys. There's so much more I can talk about. Porosity, low porosity, high porosity. I know it's a mouthful. It's a lot of information. I hope I didn't overwhelm you, but I try to give you as much as I can without giving you too much so you're not overwhelmed. But if you want to know more, please don't hesitate to ask your questions below. If I need to do a part 2 going into more details about low porosity and high porosity and all that porosity, let me know. I'm happy to. So hope that helps. Don't forget to subscribe, to give my video a thumbs up, because I know I done gave you a bunch of information that you can use that I'm sure you like. So give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. Thank you for watching. See you next time.